All right, so once again, I'm back in the car with my big ex. We had gotten back together and we were spending some time together that summer shortly after we'd gotten back together. We were just driving around, and like in the last video I made, we were listening to the radio or listening to some CD that she was playing or something like that. Some song came on and I started singing along with the song, and you know, like most songs, it's about like heartbreak and betrayal and all that dramatic stuff. And so she started to take it like the wrong way. She started to think that I was like trying to say that I don't trust her, that I don't think that she's a good partner because she gave up on our relationship or something like that. That was the start of when I could tell that she didn't trust me, and also at the same time I didn't trust her either, because I was going through my own emotional experience as well too, given that she had, you know, walked out on us, she had given up on us, she fell in love with someone else, she started to develop feelings for someone, she basically emotionally cheated on me, all that sort of stuff. And so there was this big divide forming between the two of us. Hey there, it's Clay. So if you remember from a few videos ago, I told you about my story of getting my big ex back, at least the first time from our first breakup. And we'll be talking about the second one in a little while as well too. It's a kind of dramatic story as well that spans different countries, different continents and all that, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's really not uncommon for people to lose trust with one another after they break up. And this is one of the big things that is a major obstacle. You know, a lot of times people can get back together with their ex, but if they don't restore this major trust issue underneath the surface, then they're setting themselves up to have a more difficult time in the future. They're setting their relationship up to fall apart at some point in the future. They're setting themselves up to have a second breakup at some point in the future. As I said, this was from the first breakup that me and my big ex had, which means there was more than one. So I can tell you this from personal experience as well too. I was thrilled that we got back together. I really was. I was absolutely ecstatic that we had gotten back together. But the problem was that there were some major issues beneath the surface that were going on. Namely that she didn't trust me, I didn't trust her. There was a lot of pain from this breakup that still was unresolved, but we were still getting along. We were still spending time together that summer, and we were still connecting really well. You know, of course, this was all way before I had become a relationship helping person. I don't like the term expert, but I guess you could call me a relationship expert. This was before I helped people with their relationships, and so I didn't know all of the stuff that I thankfully know now. And if we're looking at what was going on beneath the surface here that was causing the foreshadowing of some bigger problems down the road, it's that we didn't trust one another. That's to say, we weren't on the same team. Now, over the past while or so, you've probably heard me talk a lot about being on the same team. That is because in hearing so many people's different stories about their relationships, their breakups, and how they got back together and how they broke up and all that stuff, there are a couple common denominators. And one of the big ones is that the two people in the relationship at some point don't see each other as being on the same team, and they start seeing each other as being on opposite teams. You know, that's where I was at that day in the car. I was like, hey, I'm not sure if you're the kind of person that I can trust because you gave up so easily before. She was thinking, hey, I'm not sure that I can trust you because it seems like you're holding some sort of grudge and resentment about how I gave up and walked away. And so there was this big issue that was unresolved. We were starting to see each other as being on the opposite team. It was obviously major foreshadowing for some major problems that we were going to have further on down the road. And so one of the most important things you can do, whether you are already back together with your ex, in which case, awesome, you know, take a victory lap for sure, but do this as well too. Or whether you are still in the process of getting back together, is to get on the same team. If you can stop seeing your ex as an opponent or your partner as an opponent and start seeing them as someone who's on the same team as you, on the same side as you, you're going to set yourself up for a lot better success in the long run. Now, not being on the same team comes across in so many different ways. Number one, it comes across in obviously trust issues. It also comes across when you think that your ex is someone that you need to analyze or watch their every move, or that there's someone that you just like can't be yourself around because they're a man or they're a woman, or they have an avoidant attachment style or an anxious attachment style, or they have this love language or that love language, or they're this way or that way. Or whenever we start to see them as an other, that causes a layer of separation to form. And we start thinking like, oh, hey, that's right, you're a woman. And I remember reading in this book or hearing somewhere on the internet that like women need to feel this in order to want to commit to you. So therefore I need to do that, right? Instead of just saying like, hey, yeah, you might be a woman, and yeah, maybe you might prefer if this happened, but you know what, more than that, you're a human being, and I know from your experience you're going through these specific challenges in your life, and you have this emotional sore spot, and all of that sort of stuff, and I can just connect with you in that way. And so what we want to do is we want to create more of this inclusiveness and less of this exclusiveness. More of this, we're on the same team here, less of this, hey, we're on opposite teams and I have to analyze what you're doing, I have to overthink this, I have to walk on eggshells, I have to micro monitor everything that you do online, on social media, text message, on everything else, right? And so what we want to do is we want to start to build more of this same team dynamic because it's going to help to heal things from the bottom up. Okay, so of course you can get back together with your ex. I obviously did that. But there can be bigger problems that are going on beneath the surface that are going to need to be addressed either before you get back together, ideally, or after you get back together, which is also okay as well too. And that is going to start with getting on the same team. Now, if you want to know how to do all of this, we do have our course called Effortless Connection. It's over at modernlove.life/EC. You can also find a link for it down in the description box below. But this course goes through the 3 fundamental building blocks of a great relationship. They include getting on the same team, they include communication, and also trust building as well too. And if you start to put these in place in your relationship, you're going to be able to create a much more harmonious dynamic. This is what I have learned from my own personal relationships, as well as talking to, I don't even know how many people over the past 12 years now at this point, almost 12 years. This is what you need to put into place here. Go ahead and check out that course. If it seems right for you, go ahead and sign up. Whether you're back together, whether you're still working on getting back together, these are important skills that I think are going to help you when it comes to getting back together with your ex. I wish I'd known about this when I had gotten back together with my big ex after this first breakup, because it would have saved a lot of challenge, trouble, heartache. There may have never been a second breakup. There may have never been a third breakup and all this other drama that came on down the road. But again, we'll get there when we get there. I'd recommend you learn this stuff moving forward, either from these videos that I put out or from Effortless Connection course, or maybe just piece it together on your own. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Please take care, and I'll talk to you next time.